How we going? Going for two. It's your boy here, Dan at the B League says. I thought I would kick off today with a 30-second draft coming at you from underdogfantasy.com. Promo code GF2 for 100% matching deposit up to $100. I'm just getting started. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I have been in the draft lobby for about an hour. It's Sunday morning. I am absolutely not set up because I 100% thought this draft wasn't going to friggin' happen. Yeah, so for an hour, I was the first one in. I've been sitting here waiting. I've just been watching my phone to see when. I got the 101. How about that? That's a new one. I haven't had that before. So we're going to do that. We're on the turn again, which is fantastic. We are going to take the easy option, Christian McCaffrey, 101, and let's stay the fuck away from running backs for the time being. We need no more. That's it. We're going with the hero RB strategy. It has been decided. Thank you, 101. Christian McCaffrey it is. That's it. We're going to look at running backs from around the 6th, 7th round onward from there. I've been sitting in the lobby. I've been watching Man United versus Man City. Thank you. Glory, Man United. That's what we want. GGMU. And we have been sitting here waiting patiently for this draft to start. Just as I saw it goes to 12. Okay, countdown's on, and we are off and running. I will try to keep the draft board up as much as I can. We are going to add a few plays into our queue as well, just in case. You grab McCaffrey. Hey, why not put Purdy there just in case? Who knows? You never know. But yeah, being on the turn's a nice thing when you record because it gives you a bit of space. I thought it might be a good idea to actually record today because obviously there has been draft hype from the combine that's been going on this weekend. I think it's Sunday morning now. This will air Wednesday. But anybody that's in that might grab, someone that like Xavier Worthy, who ran like an all-time 40 speed. Someone might jump him a little bit earlier. He's sitting around that 10th, 11th round. Maybe he might go earlier now. Things like that can happen. Some of the running backs that might have flashed or didn't flash, they might be staying away from. So it's interesting to see almost live where this can interfere with your drafting, because as I said, this is where the edge can be. And I love drafting in patches because you can see, this is where the hype is this week. This is where the hype is that week. This is where the free agent is and isn't going. Watch Saquon Barkley go a little bit earlier than normal because people are like magically aligning him with Houston. Like they need to lose money on a running back. They did just fine with like Devin Singletary last year. And that's a team that generally, outside of that blunder with David Johnson, they don't go out of their way to spend on running backs. But now they are with Saquon, who's done literally fuck all for the last few years. Yeah, that sounds like a very good idea to do, right? I don't think so. So we're going to see where any hype picks get made, any free agents might go or not go, and where these rookies might end up. Obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr. is a guy who's been going early 2nd round. I expect that to happen here. But that doesn't mean I don't expect someone like O'Dunn's or Neighbors to go a little bit earlier now after the combine. I think they might creep up around each now, and that could well happen. And that's obviously going to give us a bit more flexibility when taking our veterans. Our veterans are going to fall back a little bit more, and we can take them. No shocks so far. Jahmyr Gibbs going 112 is probably a little bit later than what he has been going. He's been floating around that 108, 109 mark, so to see him fall there. Kyron Williams has finally fallen out of the 1st round. No one new has really come in. It's pretty much been the chalk the whole way through. You can vary Hill, Chase, and Jefferson with Lamb. People will take what they want. St. Brown's in there too. DJ Moore going early 2nd is a bit of a mindfuck to me. I'm not going to lie to you guys. This is a guy that was perennially like a wide receiver too, like a wide receiver 19 to 24. He has one big year from 3 chunk games. And now this guy who doesn't have a quarterback already is going early. Now, look, we can all project what's going to happen with Justin Fields. Atlanta, wherever. Minnesota. It won't be Minnesota, but you know what I mean? Like everyone's saying Atlanta at this point, or he could be going somewhere else. So you're projecting DJ Moore, who had a career year with Justin Fields, to all of a sudden repeat that with a rookie who we might be in and out on. Like Caleb Williams is fine. I think he's good. Do I think he's better than Fields? I don't think he's better than Fields, to be honest with you. So we're looking at this guy now and saying he's going to have a better year with a lesser quarterback. I don't know. I don't think so. Brandon Ayuk is a weird one going in the mid-second. He's looking at free agent at this point. It doesn't sound like San Fran is going to pick him up. We're on the pick in a minute or two. So I find that a little bit weird. Saquon Barkley, yeah, mid-second. That's about right. Nothing really happened there. Diggs is a value pick. Same with Adams. These guys seem to be in those value roles right then and there. I'm on the clock. I've got a minute to pick 2 players. I could go Deebo Samuel and pick up a San Fran smash there. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with Chris Olave. I think he's fantastic. No Michael Thomas. I don't think he's going to be a guy that we don't need to worry about too much. But Deebo Samuel, do I want to do that and run the San Fran back? I'm going to wait at quarterback. So Purdy going in the 8th round doesn't seem like the ideal thing. I think I'm going to go Rashee Rice. I think he takes a step forward. We're going to go early 3rd there with Rashee Rice. I like Olave at the end of the 2nd round as well. Olave had those weird weeks last year. He had a few weird weeks last year. Oh, look. No tight ends yet. That's interesting. Sam Laporta's fallen out of the 2nd round. Thank God. Sam Laporta's fallen out of the 2nd round. What were you guys thinking? Sorry about that. Chris Olave was having such a weird year last year. Like, he had those things with, like, Derek Carr, and they had, like, Michael Thomas stick up for him mid-year, and, like, the OC's now got, like, a weird sort of thing. Kubiak being there's an interesting pickup for the Saints. I kind of like that for Derek Carr. I feel like that's going to – he's already a fairly conservative guy, conservative quarterback as it is. So to see him sort of get a guy that knew how to get Brock Purdy in the best situation as a passing game at OC over in San Fran kind of feels like that's a great place for a great setup to be around Derek Carr. We know he's going to be there for the next couple of years. Carr is also cheap enough that we can get him very, very late. Derek Carr currently in your best ball drafts going as the quarterback 27. They're not going to replace him. He's going to have QB1 weeks. That is a screaming buy value for best ball this year. I feel like we still got a lot of that dynasty aspect in our drafting going on at the moment. You can see like Sam Laporta going ahead of Travis Kelce. Like, again, I don't think that's the right move to make. He had a very good year. But the amount of, if you go back through the history books, rookies repeating, not really. Like, they don't really repeat that well. Listen, he's the first tight end, first rookie tight end to be tight end 1, I think, ever. So there's that. Like, that doesn't happen. No one has ever gone back-to-back other than Travis Kelce since 2017. All right? And Travis Kelce's the only tight end that's gone. What has he gone? He's had the most tight end 1 finishes with 4 overall in that span, and the most tight end 2 finishes in that span with 2 as well. No one's finished more tight end 2s since 2017, since Travis Kelce. So you're looking at a guy who's probably not going to finish where he started. You're drafting him at his absolute peak. I feel like even the mid-3rd round, I just don't think I would be doing it myself. We're not going to get Mahomes. He's going to go. I think he's gone. Has he gone? No, he hasn't gone. Mahomes is there. I am not really interested in going quarterback this early on. No real surprises going in there. Malik Neighbors going in the late 3rd is something. Keenan Allen, again, like there's another one there. I'm so up in arms on him because we know, look at these wide receivers. That is unbelievable. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4 non-wide receivers go in the 3rd, 4th round. So, and that's 2 quarterbacks, a tight end, and a running back. So you can see now everyone's just staying right away from running back and everything else. Even Travis Kelce in the 4th round is yet to go, and he's basically falling in ADP as well. There he goes now. Jaden Reed in the 4th round is just a mistake. I really don't agree with that either. You're drafting a slot receiver in his 2nd year with a guy that's going to get Christian Watson back. They're going to get other players back in. They're going to recruit more too. I don't think it's going to be so free-flowing for him. Really don't think that's optimal for him to be in that spot right now. You may as well wait and get someone else from the Packers if that's your thing. Happy with the build so far. 2 receivers and a running back. We've got McCaffrey, Olave, and Rice. We've got some good guys in there. But yeah, not much. Pacheco in the 4th round might be a bit of a surprise at this point. What's he going as? The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The running back 10 is Isaiah Pacheco at this point. That's a little high as well. We're going to be on the clock at this point. There goes Amari Cooper. I was looking at him. Zay Flowers is in there. Roma Duns is in there. Jordan Addison. Again, we're going to stay away from running back because I don't feel like we need to do this. We're going to load up on wide receiver. We're going to go Zay Flowers. bit of controversy in him during the week. I understand. We're going to stay away from that. But I have a very bad feeling that Roma Duns is going to go to the Giants. So we're going to take him anyway. We've got our 4 wide receivers. Wouldn't that be the shits? Poor guy. But, the Giants, if you told me that Daniel Jones was lining up with, let's say Daniel Jones was lining up with Roma Duns, Jalen Hyatt, and Wan'Dale Robinson, that's quite an electric 3 there. That's different. I mean, it's young. I know Slayton's still there as well, so he's got 1 more year on his deal. So kind of interesting to see how that might work out for them. I've got this really weird feeling the Giants are going to go wide receiver at 5. They're going to feel like this is a bailout for Jones. And that as a Giants guy, that terrifies me. I think it's not great considering that the class is quite deep, the wide receiver class, and we're going to go wide receiver pick 5. That would be probably the most Giants thing going. Trey McBride's someone that came up in our Going for 2 group chat a day or 2 ago, and I like him going in the 5th round as the tight end 3 does my nut in. I hate extrapolation. And I just want to clear this up. I walked away from this chat, and it was partly me that bit on it. Everyone was talking about this guy going off. It was partly me. I bit, and I shouldn't have. If you want to say that he's going to be great because Zach Ertz is not there anymore, that's great. But to extrapolate his points when he's not there over a full season is just dumb. And I'm going to say that outright. I hate it. I hate extrapolating points because, well, Zach Ertz isn't there, so he's going to have the same 14 points per game because he wasn't there. Dumb. I hate it. It's bad because we're just negating the idea that they're not going to recruit 2 receivers and a tight end. It's dumb. Like, oh yeah, that's going to continually happen because we saw it happen for 5 weeks. We have been in this fantasy football game for so long. Extrapolation doesn't work. Fucking stop it. This goes for everyone. That's just me losing my shit a little bit. But stop. Stop extrapolating shit. It never works. That's just your veteran of the group talking right now. Just stop. But if he had it for 5 weeks, that means he can do it for 18. The fuck he does. It never happens. It never fucking happens. So stop. Stop. Enough. There's your boy losing his shit a little bit. I shouldn't have bit. And that's the thing. It's been bugging me since like yesterday. I'm like, I shouldn't have said anything. I'm walking away. I should have just gone back to giving Jeff Lambert grief. But no. I had to bite on something I really didn't. I just walk away, Dan. Walk away. Trey McBride going in the 5th round is just madness. It's just madness. What's it? This is half PPR as well, so I understand in like other things as well, but half PPR, unbelievable. Like, what? Only 10 tight ends? Six tight ends. Mark Andrews, if you want to count him, 7 tight ends last year, finished with a points per game average of over 10. Yeah, McBride wasn't one of them. He wasn't. Over 18 games, 17 games, he wasn't. So we're going with that. Let's have a look at our board at this point. Not much really on the surprising aspect there. Josh Jacobs going in the late 5th. As a free agent, I think people have got word he's probably going to go back to the Raiders, which I get it. Derrick Henry going early as well because people are talking about him at Baltimore. All it takes is one clip. I will never agree with Tajay Spears in the 6th. You're drafting him at his peaks. I don't think that's right to do. They're going to have to add to that back room. What is it? It's Dontrell Hiller there. That's the only other guy they're going to add in there too. There's too many free agent running backs. He's a sitting duck at this point. Alvin Kamara, I like in the 6th. I think he stays another year. Aaron Jones as well. Not much else in there. It's a surprise. I thought Chris Godwin might go a little bit higher considering the news about Mike Evans likely leaving. Kincaid, Kittle. I'm going to stay away from these guys. Brian Thomas, look, there's another one. So there's a rookie that's going to fly up a little bit more in there. There is no real wide receivers in there. We can go Dalton Kincaid. Maybe. There's not a lot going on in Buffalo. George Kittle. But if I go Kittle, I have to commit to Purdy. Let's see if we can make it happen. Let's go George Kittle. We need another running back. Let's have a look in here. A lot of old boys in here. There's no one else in New England at the moment, and Ramondre Stevens scares the crap out of me. So we're going to stay away from him. We're going to go Nick Chubb. Speaking of scaring the shit out of yourself, Nick Chubb and his injuries could be terrifying, but you know what? Let's see how that goes. Let's see how that goes for Nick Chubb. Look, listen, this is a $3 best ball. It's not going to be make or break for us at this point. So let's try something different. Let's go get a guy that we don't have a lot of exposure of this year. George Kittle, I've got a little bit of. Look, there's a bit of a flux of tight ends going. Now we've got Kincaid and Bowers. Again, like I've mentioned before, since 2017, there's only been 5 tight end one finishes, tight end overall finishes. So you're looking at Ingram in 17 and Joku at 18, Pitts in 21, and we had 2 rookies last year finishing in the top 12. That's it since 2017. So out of 84 slots, only 5 tight ends have been rookies that have finished as a tight end one over, in that span. So to go Bowers in the 7th round, knowing that really history's working against rookies and we don't know his landing spot just yet, I don't know. I think I would rather the guy that just went there, Evan Ingram. It's a little early, but I think I'd rather Evan Ingram, who, when you look at his big weeks or big years, it happens when players leave. Like you look at his time with the Giants when he was a rookie in 2017. Odell Beckham gets hurt. Sterling Shepard's always hurt. And it's really just him and Eli Manning. They had no run game, and Ingram went off. You look at his season last year, Calvin Ridley, yeah, he was in and out of the team. He was all right. He had some quiet weeks. Christian Kirk gets hurt. Zay Jones get hurt. It's really just he, Lawrence, and ETN really for that point. So, led the Jags in targets. We already know what his production can be. Doug Pederson hasn't told us who's going to take over the play calling. So I like that for Ingram going in there. Last year's tight end 2 in half-point PPR and Joker with that too. And look, you got a bunch of the free agent running backs in there as well. Eckler, Pollard, you got these guys in there as well. So that's a nice spot to be. Najee Harris, I think, might start creeping up a little bit earlier too. I feel like the Jaylen Warren thing might not play out like it did last season. We're talking about, obviously, with Arthur Smith, he gave Tyler Algier a couple of weeks here or there, but he really did lean on one running back. And we saw in his time in Tennessee, it was Derrick Henry, he did lean on one running back. So it feels like Najee Harris is a guy that could go off this year. He could be set up for a big year volume-wise. We're on the turn now in the 8th round. Dubs has just gone again. Like the Packers receivers are just going early, I understand. And you get the stack there, Dubs in a love. Is he the guy that took Aaron Jones? He did not. No. I don't hate that. I think with Dubs, he was so. You could still get a few more solid receivers in that space. You can go get like a Deontay Johnson, Jacoby Myers, guys like that who are a little bit more safer than Dubs at this point, and round your room out. But it doesn't really matter, I guess. Man, I really wish I didn't go Brock Purdy. I really wish I didn't go Kittle. I don't want to. I should have done it. I'm going to force a stack, and it's not going to happen. I'm going to lose my mind. This happened the last time I recorded. What can you do? Still some guys on the board there. You're looking at Kyle Pitts, obviously. He's out there. Brian Robinson Jr. I really like Robinson Jr. this year, the way Kingsbury used running backs with James Conner. I think that's something that we should be looking at a little bit more aggressively. I think that's something that we haven't really touched on too much. But you look at the running backs that are in and around him. Swift's still there. He's maybe going to be in Philly, maybe not. Warren Mostert, last year's running back too as well. He's in there as well. Wide receivers are still out there. We have gone 2, 4, and 1. We've got 2 running backs, 4 wide receivers and a tight end. And it looks like unless this guy wants to take 2 quarterbacks by the 8th round, Purdy will be asked to set up with McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel, which isn't – was it Deebo Samuel? No, George Kittle. We didn't go Deebo Samuel, which, that's fair enough. Anyone else that I'm looking at on the board? I'm looking at Deontay Johnson. I'm looking at Jacoby Myers as well. We can fade away running back a little bit more. There's still a lot more to come. So we're going to go Purdy here as our QB1, setting us up. I really like Jacoby Myers. Deontay Johnson I'm not too fond of because of Arthur Smith. Josh Downs shouldn't be anywhere near the 9th round. I don't think he's there yet. Let's go Jacoby Myers as our wide receiver 5. And we are going to kick on from there. Now, if we want to have a look at our lineup and how it's set up, we're going to scan down here. I don't mind the value we got for Purdy, 9th round, late 8th, 9th round. That's about right. McCaffrey 101, Nick Chubb is in there as well. I like this wide receiver room of Olave, Rice, Flowers, O'Duns, and Myers. I feel like that's okay. Look, they're all pretty young. You're going to get some really bad weeks out of some of them. But, we can add a few guys in there as well a little bit later to round it out, make it a little bit more safe. We've got George Kittle in there too. He's fairly reliable lately as well. He has those weeks where he goes, 2 for 1 and 4, like the Super Bowl. Thanks very much. However, he is perennially a top 5, top 6 tight end in half PPR formats. He will do well enough. I'm expecting a few more rookies to come off the board soon. I can see that coming as well. You're looking at guys like Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. I feel like they're going to start flying off the board very, very soon, as it will be. With our lineup, we're looking at other stacks that we can create. Aiden O'Connell's a guy you can get late if you feel like the Raiders are going to come up and grab one. They may be, maybe not. Too late for Mahomes and obviously Lamar Jackson. Jacoby Myers is in there too, so it's really Derek Carr we're looking at this point. And anyone else we feel free to really chase in as well. Keon Coleman's a guy that we're probably going to see slide down. For those who watch the tape, he's a very good receiver. For those who watch his 40, it's going to scare the crap out of him. Anytime you get compared to Devin Funches, it's probably not a good thing. So he might provide a little bit of value later. Let's keep an eye on him. Let's see where he falls. That's going to be interesting. That'll be interesting. Jared Goff had a really good year last year. He's at QB 17. Trevor Lawrence is looking at a bounce back. Again, these guys going after pick 100. That's kind of interesting. Tua Tagovailoa is in there as well. Very interesting part of the draft is because you've got a bunch of tight ends that really you've got to hope they kick off and have that big year. You got to hope that they can, or you got to hope that a rookie takes off. We're almost in that space. I know a lot of people are interested in Michael Mayer out of Vegas. If you can't beat out Austin Hooper for a spot, who can you beat out? Where are we going here? Let's drag this down. Tyler Lockett still. I mean, you'd have to think that Tyler Lockett is gone. You'd have to think. Well, I haven't done anything yet. They've already indicated they want Geno Smith to stick around. Mike Williams is still there in the 9th round. I want no part of that. I'm so far off the Chargers, it's silly. And I shouldn't be. I love Justin Herbert. I think he's fantastic. You know how they just want to run the ball, and that just, you're looking at, like, we're talking about Ramondre Stevenson before about players who are going to be there still, and you look at, like, the Chargers, and it's like, outside of Keenan Allen, they're all very replaceable, right? Like, I mean, outside of Herbert, no, you know what I mean? Like, Mike Williams could be gone. Josh Palmer's just a guy. Quentin Johnson showed he doesn't really know what he's doing. There's no tight end there. Everett's gone into free agency. Eckler and Kelly are free agents. They're a bit of a mess at the moment, the Chargers. It's really starting from scratch. So to bank on them to be some like pass volume heavy team, I don't see it. I don't see it. Anyway, Dallas Goedert's fallen off the face of the earth. He's into the 11th round there almost. Cole Kmet. Not a bad spot for him. Last year's tight end 6, tight end 7. Not a bad spot for him to be. Roshan Johnson's in there, Chuba Hubbard. I feel like we need to start adding some running backs as well. So we're going to look at a couple of these guys on the turn. We're going to go Hubbard into Roshan if they fall. That would be lovely. Samir White's basically come to a full stop, hasn't he? Once someone says, they might keep Josh Jacobs, trouble is brewing with him. But either way. Again, it's something like Alexander Mattison not being in Minnesota. That's like another thing there where you're sitting there going, well, maybe they just don't go for a running back and go Ty Chandler. Oh, we're going to go bang, bang on the... Look at that. 5 quarterbacks in the 10th round with Tagovailoa, Caleb Williams, Goff, Lawrence Daniels. We're not going to do that. We're going to go Hubbard. We're going to go Roshan. We're going to add a bit more meat into our running back area. I like Roshan Johnson this year. I've said it again. I feel like he's the guy, not Tajay Spears, that can have that Rashad White sort of a year. I feel like he's the guy that can outplay his ADP more likely. I think that a guy like Roshan Johnson's a guy that we're going to be taking in the 5th, 6th round next year, and that's something we want to look at as well. But yeah, I'm very happy with that. We've got those wide receivers. I like our build so far. Let's have a look. Where we're at. Let's have a look at our build. Purdy in there as well. We got McCaffrey, Chubb, Hubbard. Chubba Hubbard. There we go. Chubba Hubbard. There we go. Chubba Hubbard. There we go. Nick Chubb and a Chuba Hubbard. I shouldn't have done that. And Roshan Johnson there in the running backs. Olave, Rice, Flowers, O'Duns, and Myers in the wide receiver room. Again, still a bit of inexperience in there, but that's okay. We're looking for big weeks from them. And George Kittle to anchor our tight end role as well. We're going to look at guys like Derek Carr, Aiden O'Connell, going to look at a few different guys in there as well. Let's bring up that draft board. Where are we? I'm still getting used to having to draft my phone and look at the board and talking to a screen. It's still not great. And here come the running backs. Look, there goes Roschon, there goes Benson, there goes Chandler, Miller, and Zamir White. A couple tight ends in Kmet and Schultz. Xavier Worthy in the 11th round. I thought he might have come up a little bit more. Lad McConkey's still ahead of him. Little McCaffrey might get a run now. Little McCaffrey had a good combine, didn't he? So he might be a guy that gets a bit of run now. People might start adding him into their underdog drafts. Could be interesting. Maybe we might get the McCaffrey double. Maybe we'll have eight wide receivers. We'll grab the McCaffrey double. Maybe we'll do that today. That'd be an interesting thing. Rashid Shaheed I like as well. I mean, to see him, I feel like he's going to have that KJ Osborne quintessential. I'm going to give you like 5 games of 20 points and 10 games and nothing. But he's the guy you want as like your wide receiver 6. You want those massive weeks from dudes like him. Down the stretch, he was fantastic. Kirk Cousins in the 12th round. I get it. People are talking about him with Atlanta as well, like Fields. Has Fields gone yet? Where's Justin Fields? Justin Fields went in the 8th round. Okay, there's the Atlanta talk. Did the guy also grab Drake London? There you go. So he's got that stack there. He thinks London in the Fields is the way to go. Interesting. Very interesting. Jahan Dotson brings in a bit of value too. Again, I feel like he might be a little bit of a trap. We've seen what Dotson could do without Curtis Samuel. But again, if you struggle to beat out Curtis Samuel, where are we at? And that's a team that, again, I've mentioned before, they need to add wide receivers. Their wide receiver 3 at this point is Byron Pringle, I think. So there's problems there in Washington. They don't have much. They just got rid of Logan Thomas. They don't have anyone other than Brian Robinson. Maybe they run with Sam Howell again. I don't think so. So a whole bunch of turnover there. Cole Turner's a guy that everyone's starting to pick up off waivers because of Logan Thomas being out. Turner's done really nothing. So Blake Corum's in there, Charbonnet Ford, and Herbert into our 12th round. Interesting spot for all of them. Look, Dontavian Wicks in the 12th round if you want a Packers receiver. That's some value. Right there, that right there. That's something I'm okay with. But to reach on guys who maybe not be what they are, I don't think I'm interested in that too much. Derek Carr is nowhere. Anyways, Michael Myers in there. Wow. We might do that. Let's get weird. Michael Wilson I like in Arizona. I like that. Roman Wilson's another name that we can see come up a little bit more too. I think we're done with running backs for this moment. So let's go Michael Wilson out of Arizona. And let's grab Mike Meyer as our tight end too, as someone that might be able to outproduce where he's going. He might be able to have that Jake Ferguson year. Maybe he gives us a few touchdown-dependent weeks. It's something that we're interested in. So, Jake Ferguson, obviously, he kind of kicked off with Schultz. Schultz was a tight end 1 for 2 years prior. Then Schultz leaves, goes to Houston. He still does all right, does the same sort of thing. Ferguson takes on the same role. They don't have another wide receiver. Ferguson kicks on and does that for them. He was the second leading receiver in Dallas last year and had a relatively big year, I guess, for a tight end. I think he finished like the tight end 9.5 PPR, which is obviously the scoring setting for UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code GF2 for 100% matching deposit up to $100 on your initial deposit. As always, feel free to go over there, chuck a few bucks in, and join us in these live draft lobbies. That's what we're interested in. If not, while I'm waiting for our turn, come over to our Discord. It is free. It is one of the best free Discords for fantasy football you can. Get away from that cesspool that's Twitter. My God, what a shit show. Get away from Twitter. We don't want any more of this crap. I know we promote on Twitter. I hate Twitter. You want to come talk to some fantasy analysts and get some information and start sit advice and draft advice and trade advice and all that sort of stuff, come over to our Discord. Going for 2. It's free. Come join the lobby and we get all this sort of stuff out for you all the time free of charge. Wonderful place to be. Matt Stafford in the 13th round is a screaming value. I'm a fan of that. Followed by Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson. I think we're going to miss out on Derek Carr, which could be a problem. He's in there with Daniel Jones, Will Levis. Geno Smith's going as the quarterback 25. Baker Mayfield is the quarterback 24. Obviously, he's facing free agency. I don't think he's going to leave Tampa. They're too far back in the draft to make any noise, and I think they did well with him. They win one playoff game against Philly at home. They lose to Detroit. I think if that doesn't get you a contract where you are, then I think that's a problem. It says a lot about Tampa. Although I could say that would be atypical of the owners of that facility, the Glazers. They are absolute pumpkins. I've seen them run my club, Manchester United, into the ground. I hope they fucking burn. But that's just where I'm at with it. So, to see them not take a guy that's given them some success after some, to be fair, it was him and Kyle Trask, and God knows how that would have ended up. Couple rookie running backs going off the board there, Marshall and Lloyd, Bucky Irving, Braylon Allen. Zach Moss is in there as well. I think he might end up back in Indianapolis. He's a free agent as well. But you'll see now, if you have a look at your board, not a bunch of wide receivers going off. It's a cluster of backup running backs or mid-running backs, a few tight ends, a few quarterbacks. This is that sweet spot. But in terms of wide receivers, it really wraps up in what you want. It does really wrap up around that 10th, 11th round, which is kind of scary. And you look at the guys on the board now: Josh Palmer, Marvin Mims, Wandale Robinson, Demario Douglas, Elijah Moore. Like, there's a bunch of just guys, and that's not great. So we're up in 8 picks, and we're on the turn, and I feel like we're too far away to really do much more. If Geno goes, then we've got a bit of an excuse to... If Geno goes, we've got a bit of an excuse to bump into Derek Carr, but we're so far back, I think we're going to have to reach, and I really don't want to do it. What could you do? Couple interesting names in there. Leggett really had a rough combine as well, so he's a name that's falling off the face of the earth. Obviously, he didn't have the best pro day. We got okay as it went on, but either way. Isaiah Likely, a backup tight end going into the 14th round. That's interesting. We saw Mark Andrews for the first 8 weeks of the year. He was the tight end 3 overall, and then he obviously missed time with injury. Isaiah Likely, obviously that last month of the year, was the tight end 3 overall, and we could say Mark Andrews, when he was the tight end 3 for those first 8 weeks of the year, he averaged like 13.25, and Isaiah Likely averaged 13.3 that last month of the year. But if you extrapolated over that period of time, he would have been the tight end 3 if he had played for 18 weeks without Mark Andrews, for fuck's sake. Ridiculous. Isaiah Likely going in the 13th round. What are we doing? Okay, either way. K. Dotton's in there as well. Estime Algier. Keaton Mitchell obviously had that injury to end his season's in there as well. We're on the board coming up. Screw it. Let's go Derek Carr. It's a $3 best ball. Let's live a little. Who else do I like in there? We've got 6 tight ends, a couple running backs. Darren Waller's facing, what did he say? Retirement. He was thinking about it. That's great, because I've been loading up on him at this value. So that's exactly what I see in early February. Late February, early March. Fantastic. I don't know how I feel about Marvin Mims, but I feel like, you know what, without the running game of Saquon, we can say he's gone. Let's go Wandale Robinson, obviously, and let's go Daniel Jones. Let's get a giant stack in there. Without Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones runs like a lunatic, and they have no one else back there, so that could be something different if Waller does disappear. Take that, Derek Carr. That's what we're going for. Daniel Jones rushing it in on those spike weeks. Do I think the Giants take a quarterback at pick 6? No. I don't think. It's nice to say, well, they can pay Jones this year and get away from him next year. I just don't think they can get away from him at this point. Do I think that's the death of Daboll and Schoen? No, I don't think that's the death of them either. Schoen won't. GMs don't get sacked as often as what head coaches do, right? So I don't see that coming for them. I don't believe that they're going to get away from Jones this year. Elijah Mitchell's in there too. Ray Davis, Zay Jones, Marvin Mims. There he goes in the 15th round. Marvin Mims was probably floating around that 8th, 9th round last year. He had a bit of rookie hype, one decent game, and then, man, the Broncos fell off a cliff, didn't they? Oh, well, what can you do? We're heading into the 15th round, closer to the 16th. A few interesting names on the board. the clock is starting to really slow down. Let's have a look at our builds so far. Brock Purdy, Daniel Jones in there as well. Christian McCaffrey, Chubb, Hubbard, and Roshan Johnson round out our running backs. Probably need to add a couple more in there. Wide receivers aren't too bad. We have got, 6 or 7 of them. Olave, Rice, Flowers, O'Duns, Myers, Wilson, and Robinson. Yeah, good 7. We could go one more of them. We're looking at Kittle and Meyer as well in our tight end department. So wouldn't mind adding another tight end. We got, 5 more picks to go. Probably go 2 more running backs and 1 more of each other position. That's how we are going to look. Heading into that 16th round, Tyler Boyd's going to hit free agency. Juwan Johnson's a guy that's interesting as well. He had a tight end one season in 2022. He floated with the idea of it last year as well. Again, the Saints a bit of a mess. Johnson's not bad. He has some value in there too. He's not too bad. He's not a bad player to grab at It's tight end 19, 20. Geno Smith goes in there as well. Again, you got some of these value quarterbacks that are going to have some decent weeks. Will Levis is another guy that's in there. They're going to have some games. Curtis Samuel's hitting free agency. I'd like to see him pair up with DJ Moore again. They had that thing over in Carolina. I wouldn't mind seeing him in Chicago. That'd be interesting. But we don't know the quarterback, but DJ Moore's going as a wide receiver 6 or 7. Wild times, my friends. Wild times. Either way. Looking at some of these running backs, Antonio Gibson's is a name. Hunter Henry's a tight end we can look at. Although he's hit free agency, Hunter Henry's a guy that obviously look at what he does with rookie tight ends. What he did with Hunter Henry, what he did with Justin Herbert, then he hit free agency, almost replicates the same thing in New England with Mac Jones as a rookie, back-to-back years, give or take. I would be interested to see if Hunter Henry ends up on someone like Washington. I think that would be an interesting place. Washington for someone like Hunter Henry that could be interesting. That could be interesting. I wouldn't hate that. What can you do? Trey Palmer's a nice name to watch, obviously, with the removal of Mike Evans from Tampa. Palmer had a few spike games, although he was schizophrenic in how he went about it. He'd have one game with 2 for 6 and like a touchdown, one game 5 for 40. Then he'd go for 100 yards and a touchdown, then nothing the next week. It's just kind of wild how they did him in. But it's okay. We're up in 4 picks time. I am probably looking at going Antonio Gibson into Hunter Henry. Tucker Kraft's an interesting player, obviously. Look at all these speed guys in here. Moore, Corley, Hyatt, Palmer, Pearsall. Oh my God. Pearsall had a good combine as well, so there's a name that's probably come up from the past few rounds too. But yeah, I wouldn't mind looking at guys like Antonio Gibson into Hunter Henry. We're up in 3 picks time. Quarterback is in there as well with Derek Carr. Oh, we could go Derek Carr. How about that? Played our Carr right, you could say. I don't think this guy's going to go. Both have 2 in here. Richardson and Lawrence. Josh Allen and Jaden Daniels. Maybe he might go Derek Carr. Maybe. Rico Dowdle. That's an interesting name. He's the only one there in Dallas at the moment. But if I could line up Derek Carr and Antonio Gibson, that's kind of worked out quite well. I'd be pretty happy with that. Nothing ever works out for me either, so come on, Stanbury, get on with it. Stansbury, can't read that. 5 seconds, Stansbury, get on with it, buddy. What's he done here? Treylon Burks. Oh, you poor thing. So, yeah, it's worked out well. We've reached for Jones and Robinson stack. We're going Derek Carr here, so we're going to tie him in with Chris Olave. And I am now going to add Antonio Gibson or Hunter Henry. I feel like I can miss on tight end. We're going to go grab one of them numpties a little bit later. Let's go Antonio Gibson. He's going to hit free agency. There's a lot of places that we see go, oh, man, I'd love to see him go to Houston. Saquon Barkley's going to Houston. Like, literally, Antonio Gibson could probably do the same job at, like, half the price at this point. So, I don't hate that for him being there. Someone like Antonio Gibson in somewhere like Minnesota, that would be interesting. I think the the Chargers are looking for running backs, so someone like Antonio Gibson in the Chargers, that might be interesting too. There's lots of places that he could go in and fulfill a role. He's good with his hands. He can take the load. He goes all right. Phrasing, but it's okay. So we're done with quarterbacks. We might need another running back. We can go one more each position here. So running back, wide receiver, and tight end. We're going to load up there one more of each. Bryce Young's fallen to QB 29. You'd think he'd have to rebound, but they're running in with like Thielen and Mingo again and not much else. Chuba Hubbard maybe. Not a whole lot going on there. Javon Baker's a name I've always kept an eye on. That's a UCF thing. Go Knights, charge on. JJ McCarthy's going to come in as well. So there's a few interesting names in there that could kick off the rest of your draft. Do I think drafts are won and lost here? No, but I think it can help. You can pick up someone. All you need is like the next Sam Laporta, right? To go tight end one. Well, they didn't have any wide receivers in Detroit last year outside of St. Brown. There was no Jameson Williams and there was no real Marvin Jones. He kind of left after week one and Josh Reynolds was. But if you extrapolate Sam Laporta's year, you're going to have a tight end 1 year with all those guys missing. For fuck's sake. Either way, this is why I don't interact with anyone anymore. I stay away from everyone. Russell Wilson's gone off the board, QB 30. Shouldn't have taken the bait, Dan. I know. We're at this point of the draft where like Jeff's probably listening on going, Dan, just fucking end the recording now. Just end it. End it, Dan. Do us all a favor. No, Jeff, I won't. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to see this through. I've got one more extrapolate round in me. Trust me, I've got one more. We've got 3 rounds to go. Watch. Let's find someone here. We're going to extrapolate him a little bit. Justice Hill, you watch. Greg Dulcich, draft darling for all you like dynasty nerds. We love Greg Dulcich. He played 1 game. Yeah, but if you extrapolate it, there was no Adam Troutman, there was no Jerry Jeudy. If they weren't there and he did that, he would have been enough. Extrapolating doesn't work. Projecting narrative doesn't work. Just stop. Not in March. Enough. Yeah, Dan, we're going to have to remove you from the Going for Two chat. Yeah, you're upsetting people. Not upsetting anyone. I'm just a guy that sat in a chat lobby for an hour waiting to do this show for you guys. That's all it is. This podcast is going to come across really well. I know it. Whatever. Just play it on 2-point speed and we'll get on with it. That's what we're here to do, right? Davis Allen. Davis Allen had 1 game last year and there's no Tyler Higbee because of injury. But if you take that, like those 3 games without Tyler Higbee, man, oh man, he'd average like 5 points a game. That's like tight end 17. He did it without Tyler Higbee, though. Get too old for this shit. Anyway, we got 3 more rounds to go. We've just hit the 18th round. Not a whole lot of surprises in there. Oh, Tanner Hudson, last year's tight end 30 going in the 18th round, no problem. Darius Slayton in the 17th round is always a value. He's good for 705. I've mentioned that every week. Let's see what we got in here. A.T. Perry, we could go. We can add him in there to the New Orleans stack. That might not be a bad idea to do. Running backs in there, maybe a Justice Hill. Chris Rodriguez. That's an interesting name. I think people are going to reach for him. Bob's another name. I think people are going to reach for him. It's all interesting. It's all interesting. Running backs is a very, very veteran, solid base there. Good quarterbacks, I'm okay with that. Receivers, we're okay with that. Probably need a couple of tight ends in there to help out Georgia Kittle. I do like Javon Baker, though. We're going to do it. Oh, do it Baker or Perry. Let's go Javon Baker if he falls. Let's do that. Although I am waiting behind Stansbury again and his 30-second clock taking us. So, thanks very much, buddy. Thanks for draining the clock. I've actually paused. I was watching Man United, Man City, and I paused it at halftime. Marcus Rashford scored an absolute dolter. And I've paused it. And I'm going to go upstairs and watch United get done 5-1. So actually, I don't mind if this guy takes his time. Either way. Brendan Rice is the name, obviously son of the greatest to ever do it. So he's in there too. I think we need a tight end, we need a running back, and we need a wide receiver to level this out. I think we can go. Oh, Brevin Jordan. Someone's been watching my stuff. Brevin Jordan, the 18th. I love it. Athletic freak. You know, if you extrapolate Brevin Jordan's 3 games throughout the whole last season, he would have like doubled what Dalton Schultz did last year, and you would have gone from like 4 points a game to like 9.5. I'm on the clock. Thank God. We're going to go Javon Baker, UCF, charge on, let's go. And we are going to add a tight end in there, maybe. No, we can do that with our last pick. There's not much going on here. So a running back, you know what would be funny? Ezekiel Elliott. He's a name that's always going to land on his feet. He's going to land somewhere. Not the end of the world. We've got one more round to go. We're done at running back. We're done at wide receiver. We are done at quarterback. Our team is nearly full. We've got one more pick to go. It will be the last pick of the draft. Nearly there. I don't mind that Purdy, Jones, and Carr. I don't mind McCaffrey, Chubb, Hubbard, Roschon, Antonio Gibson, and Ezekiel Elliott. Olave, Rice, Flowers, Adance, Myers, Wilson, Wandale, and Javon Baker. There's a lot going on in there. Kittle and Meyer. We're going to grab one more tight end. Let's have a look and see who's out there. Yeah, that's Greg Dulcich. Let's grab him. You know, Dawson Knox, he's another name. He has those 1 or 2 odd games. A couple touchdowns in him last year. Really fell off the cliff. Everett's facing free agency. Donald Parham in there as well. Ben Sano. Noah Gray. Jelani Woods is a name. I'm not the biggest Jelani Woods guy. Cole Turner's someone that we can add into our clip here. Obviously, he's the only tight end really worth on. Jesse Bates is there, I guess, but we're not really going over for him. Dan Bellinger, maybe someone we can stack in there with Daniel Jones if Darren Waller does decide to retire. Obviously, things can change. Let's bring on that draft board as it would be. In terms of Washington players, obviously Antonio Gibson's in there, but he's facing free agency. We don't have anyone in there. Bellinger, when the Giants say I'm a Giants fan, but like when the Giants added like Darren Waller, I get it. Like you used the pick you got for Tony to get someone like Waller that's starting to break down anyway. But Bellinger as a rookie wasn't bad. It kind of made no sense to go. Waller's fantastic when he's healthy and fit, and you can connect the dots with him. He's unbelievable to watch, right? Like he's fantastic, but let's not act like one of his best games from Derek Carr throwing the ball to him like 20 times. Was that an overtime game like 2020? It was like opening game of the year against Baltimore or something, right? Vegas versus Baltimore. He had like 20 targets in one game. Like, let's not act like he doesn't need a lot of work to help him get there too. I hope he plays for the Giants for one more year and he actually gets his health right and plays, but at this point of his career, I don't think it's going to happen. Bellinger's someone that we might be looking towards more. But, you know, this is where we're at this point, right? Darren Waller, what are we doing here? Those are the things you don't want to hear in March, right? Darren Waller was thinking about retiring, and you're just like, man, I don't think the Giants are going to clean out house for another year, and that's the other problem. And how often the Giants going to have a top 6 pick? Well, Dan, frequently. Yeah, they're pretty bad. So no Darren Waller, maybe, probably no Saquon Barkley. And then they might end up getting a quarterback at pick 6 with Daniel Jones being garbage. Okay. Who's got that gif of that house being on fire? That's where we're at. Abanacanda's in there, Chris Rodriguez, Dylan, a couple people, a couple rookies, Burton, McMillan, Wilson. Darnell Mooney in the 19th round I like. That's interesting. You know, he's got a specific skill set to help him go far. I think we're going to go. My Titans didn't go off the board today. No, they didn't go. Why are they not in the queue? What's going on here? we're going to go Cole Turner. If he falls to us, we're going to go Cole Turner. That's an interesting name to look at. You know, if you had seen what he did without Logan Thomas. Either way, we're going to wrap this up. It's 50 minutes down. I'm going to end this very, very shortly. But before I go, as always, come to our Discord. It's free. Going for Two Live. It's fantastic. You can go to our YouTube. You get all our content Monday to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as well. Every other hour of the day. It's a fantastic place to be. Hit the subscribe, hit the alerts, kick on from there. As always, we're at the same place for Twitter, Going for Two Live and Going for Two. You can find us over there. I'm Dan. I'm at the B League Says. You can find me more likely over on Discord than Twitter. I don't like Twitter. I'm there because I have to be. I'm just there so I don't get fired, right? And as always, UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code GF2 for 100% match deposit up to $100. We are up in 3 picks time. We're going to take Cole Turner if he falls. If not, we're in a bit of trouble. We're going to scramble. But outside of that, we're going to wrap up after this pick, go over our final check of the roster, and kick off for the rest of the weekend. Well, these guys are going to take another minute because they've already logged off, and I'm the schmuck that's sitting here recording on a Sunday morning. That's okay. I got nothing else to do. It's all right. Thanks for your concern. Oh, come on, man. 3 seconds are going to make me wait the 30 seconds out. I hope these people are listening to our podcast and stream during the week. I hope, right? And then from there, I hope they realize how awful I are making me wait a minute for 2 picks in the 19th, 20th round. That's where I'm at in life. But anyway, these podcasts will come at you semi-regularly through the off-season. There's not a whole lot of movement that we see, but a little bit from the combine, some free agency news. We try to get some reaction to that, see where people take it, but it is what it is from there. 3 second Stansbury. Come on, man. Who'd you take? Make it worth it. Gerald Everett, we're taking Cole Turner. To round this out, we are done. That's where we are at as well. Let's have a look at this final roster. We have 3 players from San Fran. We got the stack. We got doubles from New Orleans and Las Vegas, the Giants and Washington, one from everywhere else that you can see. Brock Purdy, we have at our quarterback. He's anchoring us off. We waited until after pick 160. We grabbed Jones and Carr. Reached for Jones. We got the stack with Wandale. It was there. Carr, we've added him in there with Chris Olave. Purdy we have with McCaffrey and Kittle. Our running back room, McCaffrey, Chubb, Hubbard, not Chubba, Nick Chubb, Schuba Hubbard, Roshan Johnson, Antonio Gibson, and Ezekiel Elliott. Our wide receiver room, Chris Olave, Rashee Rice, Zay Flowers, Roma Duns, Jacoby Myers, Michael Wilson, Rondell Robinson, Javon Baker. Tight ends, George Kittle, Michael Mayo, Cole Turner. At this point, if you're looking at the projections, we're in the middle of the pack there, around about 2,900. Doesn't change too much. Everyone's kind of got the same sort of thing going on. No bye weeks to note, as would be. I have wrapped up. I hope you had a fun weekend, an enjoyable weekend. I hope you extrapolate your Sunday into something more worthwhile than this. Take care. Cheers. Safe punts. Happy bets. Thank you very much.